This episode of the Red Bull Rant is brought to you by the fine patrons that support us through patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. You can be a patron too for the low price of $1 a month, and you can get exclusive content every month, including a monthly wrap-up for the New York Red Bulls. We want to spend a special shout-out to our patron who supports us at $5 a month. That is our producer-level credit. Thank you, Jeremiah Dempster, for supporting the show. Now, on to the podcast. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. If you aren't expecting adult language, why even bother listening? Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. I'm your host, Jason Iapicco.
I'm Pat McDonald.
I'm Truman, and this is episode 268, The World Derp.
Yeah.
Derp, 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 derp.
So before we actually get into anything, we have to thank somebody. We had one of our patrons decide that they want to up their pledge. Decided $1 a month was not enough for us. They decided to do $5 a month, become a producer of the show.
They decided we're worth $5
a month.
A month.
Yeah, it's not just $5. $5 a month. So there you go. Will Martin, thank you. He is our longest subscribing patron for over a year now, and he's kicked in an extra $4 a month. So thank you very much. And in honor of, and we're going to play this now, in honor of new patrons and patrons that up their monthly donation to us.
You get this.
Dollar, 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 dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter. Dollar, dollar.
Okay, that was not cut correctly. I will fix that before the last.
We just keep playing. We're going to play for like an hour, and that's it, and just talk over it.
Sure.
We've talked over things before, so.
Yeah, but that one wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
All right, anyway. So 2 games that we talked about. One that was okay. One that was almost bad. But ended up being okay in the end. So first, Red Bulls went to Columbus, minus Tyler Adams, minus Tim Parker, minus Kaku, minus
Rio,
and I can't remember the last guy for some reason. I don't know why. There wasn't 2 defenders, Maria and somebody else that went to...
Yeah, Parker. You said him.
Okay, third. Maybe 3 defenders. I don't know. Anyway, 1-1 draw. Pulling that one out in the second half, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do each one separately because I feel like this one kind of deserves 2 games to talk about each one separately. So likes and dislikes. Pat, we'll start with you. What did you dislike about the Columbus match?
That first half, that was the worst half of soccer I've seen the Red Bulls play in a really long ass time. It was damn near embarrassing. So they just couldn't do anything right. I mean, it was for anyone who watched the France game, I felt like I was still watching it. Like, just the U.S. getting bombarded. I thought it was the same freaking game, the way the Red Bulls were getting bombarded. I mean, it was brutal. So, yeah, I just kind of hope they don't have another stinker of a half or a game like that in them for the rest of the season.
Yeah, agreed. And again, we're kind of saved by the fact that a lot of the major guys were missing.
Mm-hmm.
So you just take that as a saving grace of a god-awful half. Really, out of 4 halves, we had 1 bad one in the past 2 games, right? 1 really bad one. The rest were good to decent, I would say.
Mm.
So, yeah, really just sloppy play. They didn't look like they had anything going on. BWP didn't even know what the ball was at one point. I don't think anyone knew what the ball was. So, but again, you temper it with not a full lineup against a good team. You just kind of go, okay, they got through it. And then we come to the end result. Could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I'll have to pile into the first half. And the reason it's a big dislike for me is because the reason it was such a bad half was effort. It just, the effort wasn't there. I think the second half was more indicative of if this team puts an effort, what you see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we ended up, I don't know if that's, I think we held them to like 1 or 2 shots in the second half, something like that, or maybe even none. I don't know. But
Well, they switched up their alignment in the second half.
well, that was part of it. But at least to me, it seemed like the team was listless. And I'm not sure that's the right word, but it seems like they just weren't ready, just weren't motivated, whatever you want to call it. They just like weren't there mentally for the game in the first half. Not like they were in the second. Jesse Marsh must have like kicked them in the ass really good in the locker room because they came out much more motivated in the second half to me.
I mean, I think it was just an alignment thing. I mean, you know, that happens. I mean, we saw it last year with this team. They tried to play 4-2-2-2. They couldn't do anything. They tried switch back to the 4-2-3-1. They couldn't do anything. But when they finally switched to a 5-man back line, they started being competitive. And I think that's really all it was. I mean, Connor Lade, I think he switched up to a wing back as opposed to a defender in the second half, and he made a difference, or a bigger difference than they did. You know, so I don't think it was an effort thing. I think it was just with the amount of guys they had missing, they couldn't play their usual formation.
Maybe I thought I saw it as effort, but I mean it could have been that. So let's talk about likes. Truman, you go first. What did you like about this game?
All right. Well, 2 things, they kind of go together because this man is going to get absolutely killed a little bit later, I'm sure. But Alex Maweel gets a goal that kind of saves them. Now that's half of it. Okay, so they tie the game. Great. That's the result we wanted, right? The best part is after they had to score the goal, they got to all of the 6 Red Bulls fans were there, 6, and I knew every single one of them.
Yeah,
that was the best part, and especially former guest Zach Wassink dancing around in a circle with, I believe, his beer in his hand. So you really can't top that. Is when you cut and you just see them just bouncing around. So that I thought that was really the highlight. I'm like, wait, hold on, and I go back because I recorded it and I pause it and I tell my fiance, I'm like, okay, that's so and so, that's this guy, that's that guy. I'm like, yeah, that's all of them. We know all of those people.
Yeah. I think Washington had a Negro Modelo tall boy, if I remember correctly. So well done.
I mean, in fairness, that is the closest game for him to go to.
Yeah, absolutely. My I more or less just espoused on it. They made a lineup switch, and it made a difference. There's really nothing more I can add to that.
I guess just the goal for me, because it's as much as we were better in the second half, there's nothing that stood out.
Right.
It's just the fact that they came. I mean, that goal happened relatively quick, right? It was like the first 10 minutes of the half that they scored it. So, you know, the fact they were able to step back up and
I didn't think it was that quick, but I'll tell you what, I've blurred out a lot of that game at this point because we have another game that we just watched last night. The 1-1 draw, you're like, what? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. The Columbus game was very forgettable. Like, honestly, if we lost 1-0, I was not going to be upset about it.
Right.
So, speaking of, let's move on to that game.
Okay.
Because the Columbus game is really forgettable. Hosted Seattle at home. Oh, wait, we should say predictions for that one, right? Because
sure. Okay.
Somebody did get that one right. Who was that? I wonder. Oh, yeah, that was me. I called it a 1-1 draw.
And what happened last time with predictions?
Well, I didn't get last night right. I said 4-1.
Oh, 4-1? I thought you said 2-1.
No. I said I needed 2 goals for and 1 against at that point. I said it wasn't going to happen.
I thought you had a 6-point swing.
No, that would have been insane.
Yeah.
No, so going into the game against Seattle, it was Seattle had won a game, but it was against DC.
Yeah.
So, it's whatever. Yeah. So, by the way, Alex Muil scored in the 57th minute of the Columbus game.
So there you go.
2-1 win against Seattle, which would have been okay if it wasn't the fact that we gave up a goal and almost gave up a second. And what Pat's referring to is when it was 2-0.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. We need to start. Then can I just start with my dislike?
Okay. Because
you're about to talk about it, and I need to bring that up because it's my dislike.
If your dislike's what it is, go ahead.
Okay. So at 2-0, I believe that was my prediction for this game. Correct?
I have.
I believe so.
Yep, it was your prediction was 2-0.
Correct. Pat's prediction was 3-0. At that point, Jay was not getting the 4-1 result. That was out. I mean, after the first half, you knew that was out the window. Like, unless something crazy happens.
I honestly, I knew like 20 minutes in it wasn't happening.
Right. But as it's 2-0, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, the only way this game is going to end is 2-1. I said, it's the only way this game is going to end because it's going to screw me and it's going to screw Pat and it's going to be a crappy result. And like, none of us are going to get anything out of this result. Like, Pat and I we were teetering on.
We would all get a point. That's what you were looking at.
Yeah. And who had the chance, right? It was, Velo, right? Who had the chance right in front of net. Mm-hmm. Who missed, I mean...
Off the rebound of his own shot.
I mean, it couldn't have been more of an open net. Yeah. And I know you have to mention this, but I said to Pat, I said, you must be throwing up right now.
Yeah, that was a brutal one to watch. To watch Loco full Wondolowski when I had 3 points there waiting for me to just kind of jump back in the lead. But, what are you going to do? You win some, you lose some.
So the sequence of events was 2-0. Pat goes one more, and I make up my deficit. And I respond, so we're going to get 4-1. Wait, no, I said 4-1's not likely, which means it's going to happen because why not? Pat misunderstood what I was saying because I didn't say 4-1. I just said I'm going to get this right because it's unlikely. As soon as they give up the goal, all I see is "fuck you, Jay" in our chat, and it was before the goal because he was watching on cable and Drew and I were watching on ESPN Plus. Mm-hmm. So we're like a good 30 seconds to a minute behind, and we're like, "What?"
Oh, you knew! I knew as soon as you said it. I'm like, and I just sit there staring at the TV like, "Here it comes!" Oh, yep, there it is.
So
you had the brace. That stupid 2-1 result, the one that, of course, nobody, none of us.
So, Pat, what's your dislike?
I mean, that I didn't get the prediction right, and then they gave up that late goal. I mean, in the end, 3 points, 3 points. You can't be too disappointed. But yeah, I mean, we'll just go with that. My own pettiness is my dislike this week.
Well, then I guess I have to be the one to talk about it.
I think we'll talk about it in afterthoughts.
Well, we will. Well, the afterthoughts contain both, I think. So, but Alex Muil, how do you miss a wide open header like that? Let alone the other stuff you missed, but just like that one in particular, right?
He had 3 shots on goal,
but that one was a free header, like at the top of the 6-yard box. Like, how rare is that to actually get? And I say this, obviously not having played, but it can't be that hard to put it in any sort of direction aside from straight to goalkeeper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you put it right at the goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
He almost actually could have fully redeemed himself. Well, it's not his fault, but in the second half, he had that great backheel pass to, again, I think it was Velo.
But Velo didn't follow the run through.
And he totally stoinked the ball.
There was a lot of stoinking.
Yeah. But he could have, like, made himself like a partial hero and everyone could have stopped talking trash about him. He also had one was the one header was a really good save from the keeper, I think.
There was one that was saved well.
Yeah, I'm not blaming him for that. I'm just
right. That was actually a good shot. That was just a great save.
But it's just kind of like that point when that was the third one. So it's kind of like after that, you're like not even willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, you suck balls, Will. You're a piece of shit. Where are we?
So now it's time for likes.
Okay.
So, Pat, you get to go first. What did you like about this one?
Let's. You know what? It's good to go into the break with a win. You know, World Cup break is coming up. I believe after the Open Cup they have like 2 weeks off or a week and a half off, something like that.
The next game is the 23rd.
Okay, so
it's like not even. It's really not even a break.
It's a bye week essentially.
It's a half bye week. I mean, they play Saturday.
It's a regular week.
But we all know the Open Cup doesn't count. That's not real.
What baffles me is the fact that the MLS didn't schedule a full 2-week break here.
Yeah.
No America. So if there was America, they'd have the 2 weeks off, but no America.
But but still, I figure Fox
doesn't matter. All they care about is America. You know, as if the Americans were in it, they'd probably take the full 2 weeks off.
Although I think the Seattle game wasn't a makeup game, right? So that's never mind. I was going to say that was a makeup for us playing the Open Cup, but that's not for the Champions League. But that's not true.
Yeah, no, there's a Houston game, right, or something. I don't remember.
Houston in August is a makeup.
Yeah. So, so you know, it's good to go in the break with a win. Let's keep that momentum going. Yada yada yada.
I'm gonna shout out Ethan Cutler. With the beautiful pass to the man who has forgotten how to score with his feet and now only scores with his head, and that's Bradley Ray Phillips. Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
That's all you can say.
I think we should completely go on the overreaction train and say when, by all means, sell Murillo after the World Cup because we got Ethan Cutler. He is clearly going to replace him.
Do you think the Cutler statue will be a little bit smaller than the Kaku statue in front of the stadium? Like he'll be like looking up, like idolizing Kaku as Kaku has his hands on his hips, like looking into the sky.
It's tough. I mean, you figure Kaku had 2 kind of crappy games before he went away for national team duty. So you know, can't afford as much bronze anymore after that. So they might be of even height at this point. Well, we'll have to see how the season progresses.
So you're saying Kaku's statue might become like cubic zirconia?
Pretty much. I think we're getting to that point. Not going to waste the good metals and carbon-based rocks on Kaku until he comes back and gets more assists.
Smart. That's smart. Smart thinking.
Yeah, I think eventually, ideally, the season we want him to have is that when immigrants come on the boats, instead of seeing Statue of Liberty, they see Kaku, and then they know they're in America.
You could probably see that from Red Bull Arena. We built it tall enough,
right? So,
hey Jay, you got any likes?
I'm going to say this only because I know you were complaining about it when the game started that my ESPN Plus was working correctly.
Oh yeah,
because you were having problems with yours and mine seemed to be working correctly.
You know, it was just
and
it was kind of like a little bit of a choppy stream here and there.
Yeah, and my picture quality wasn't great for the Columbus game. I just figured it was Columbus, and it seems like that was the case. So
that's probably a good point. Yeah, it was Ohio. So what were you getting out of there?
And they did have a storm coming in that game, so you never know.
Yeah.
I think I've talked this before. Like I know I've talked about the fact that I interviewed with MLS for the website before, but for MLS Live, and I assume for ESPN Plus, they don't have fiber optic cables running to all the stadiums. So what you generally have is satellite uplinks that are feeding the game to these streaming services. So in the case of Columbus, if they have a big weather storm coming in, then it might have affected the stream. So.
But in that case, I DVR'd off ESPN, and I got to watch it without any commercial interruptions, Jay. So, but that's a whole nother story entirely that these listeners don't want to hear about.
No, we're not going to talk about it.
That's inside.
Because it hasn't come up yet. It hasn't caused a like or dislike yet. So, all right. So afterthoughts. Before we talk about something, we did have a voicemail, so I'll play that real quick.
Guys. This is Jeremiah. What I want to talk about is Alex Muyl. I am sure that everyone is sick to death of talking about Muyl and his form and his positives and his negatives, but I like this whole we hate Alex thing that seems to be happening has got to stop. Like, when I watch Alex Muyl play, I see a wasteful player with finishing chances, but everything else about his game has improved over his time as a Red Bull player. He is much more confident on the ball than he used to be. He connects passes at a much higher rate than he used to. He gets down to the end line. He has pace. He covers ground. He does all the things that we've always given him credit for. But basically everything else about the rest of his game has come up. Does he miss passes? Yes, he misplaces passes. Does he hit crosses into the upper deck? Yes, he hits crosses into the upper deck. But every attacking player that plays the game at any level hits crosses into the upper deck, misses passes, misplaces passes, has bad first touches. Every player has these things. They're attacking players. They take chances on the ball. That's what they do. When I watch Muyl hit a great first touch and then quick turn in the middle of the park and make a run, and then he gets crap for it because of where he lost the ball. It's no wonder that this kid is playing without confidence, is plugging his ears, which you have to interpret as a sign towards us, the fans, who aren't supporting him. I worry that this is a kid that the fan base is really, really getting to. When in reality, he's one of the kids that we should be ridiculously proud of. Anyway, that's all I want to say. Have a great one. Bye.
I have to disagree. I don't think our fan base has ever overreacted about anything ever.
No, absolutely not, right? Come on.
Well, the biggest issue is that what does the common fan see? Now, Jeremiah is a coach, from what we understand, right? He is a actual soccer coach, so he gets more of the ins and outs than a lot of your regular fan would. And what does a regular fan see? They're seeing three things: three shots, no goals. That's And when they do, they jump all over him. What they don't see, and what I mentioned earlier, was that really nice backheel pass that unfortunately went for naught. So you can just see where the Twitter fans are going nuts. I try not to jump all over the guy. He definitely deserved the beating during Champions League, for sure. There was definitely some well-deserved Twitter beatings for that. But yeah, I know someone on Twitter mentioned last night that maybe he should go back down to Red Bull too. That's not happening. That's not, that's just not. It's boom or bust for him at this point. He's on the team. Yes, he probably won't be starting a lot of games when they have the full lineup, because there's just, where do you put them? But I think he is right. He's doing a decent job. It's just that your everyday fan is just seeing those shots on target and they lose their minds.
I think everything he said for the most part in that interview, the voicemail, is correct. I think, like Truman said, he was terrible in Champions League. But the last couple of games, I do think he's actually played rather well. The missed goals notwithstanding. He has improved. While our fan base absolutely is prone to hyperbole and overreaction, there's no question about it. It's every week we suck or we're great. It's one or the other. It's never in between. That's a New York fan base.
Yep.
That's New York. They did it to A-Rod. They do it to everybody. It's
just, Gary Sanchez sucks. Meanwhile, the Yankees are the best team in baseball. That's terrible.
Oh, I hear it. Anytime I listen to the K show or whatever, it's how come the Yankees didn't hit that way in this? They called for a punt and they swung for it and they lost the game. They lost one of 162 games. Good fucking grief. But in the end, that's New York fan base. It is what it is. It's just.
Eli, you stink. You're terrible. Well, you won Super Bowls. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. So, that's really it. It's you take the good, take the bad. It is what it is.
So I was going to make an argument that he's missing he's missing more chances, but when I went to his Wikipedia page, he's actually on track for his goals per year. So, 2016, in total for between the two teams, Red Bull 2 and Red Bulls and MLS, 38 games, 4 goals. 2017, 37 and 3 goals. And so far in 2018, 17 games and 2 goals. So he's actually on pace to have a career high in goals.
And that's from a non-regular starter spot.
Yeah. And by the way, he's played 2 games in USL this year. But
also,
so
we
what I will
matched
say
the guy
is,
for the last 2 games. The Red Bulls have a win and a draw in the past 2 games. So
true.
You know
what I will say is, like Drew mentioned, it's perception, right? If the shots that he didn't make this past week or against Seattle were not easy shots, people wouldn't be ragging on him, right? I think, and I'm not saying this to try to be unfair to him. If they're in MLS, they're a professional player, they should be better, or they should be growing, right? I think as much as he is growing, I don't think he's growing as fast as people would like, and that's really the biggest issue of all.
Not everyone is Tyler Adams.
That's the thing, right? You have Tyler Adams, who basically his first year became a starter. You have Shawn Davis, who, as much as he was benched at the beginning of last year, eventually did earn the spot that he was supposed to take after they let McCarty go. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring Kaku in, and now it's perception. Well, if they brought Kaku in, then maybe he is the odd man out when Kaku's in the lineup. So, you know, when he has his chance, and he does have a bad game, at least in the more obvious respects anyway, it's only natural that people are going to think he's not living up to what he's supposed to be.
Well, I mean, and I think part of that is, 2 years ago he was average at best, and nothing seemed to push him off the field. I mean, he's Jesse Marsh's pet, and I think a lot of people resent that. I was going
to say, well, probably didn't. As much as it was a great moment, it probably didn't help that he had that goal against New York City in 2016.
Oh, he was a kid, yeah.
Because that was like his introduction to the fan base.
Mm.
And it's like, if you come in on that big of a high, it's kind of hard to live up to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I mean, I'll say at this point, I mean, again, kind of like what Jeremiah was saying, based on what we've seen the last couple of days, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him push Below possibly to the bench for a game or 2. I'm not super sold on Below. I think he's a nice story, but I think that's about it. So if Wheel has maybe taken that next step, maybe a benching is what he needed, when considering all the passes he was given early on in his career. Sometimes good benching is what you need to unlock your potential. So
yeah, I mean, look at Matt Miazga, right?
Absolutely.
It was 4 or 5 games, and he had like that one really bad game in Philly, and Pecky's like, nope, you're going to sit on the bench the rest of the year, and then he came back next year, like lit up the league, and then was off to Chelsea. So
yeah, and you said it yourself just now, Shawn Davis. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if he can start getting some assists and maybe work on his headers a little bit. He could be what we want for.
It was okay. He did score a goal. The Columbus game we keep forgetting about.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the Columbus game was just so I don't know, weird, like forgettable. So
yeah,
and it's not for the goal, but it's just in general, it's forgettable.
Yeah.
All right. Any other afterthoughts on these 2 games?
Oh, I think we've talked too much now at this point. Even if I did, we've gone too far.
Well, I've got one because I was going to kind of roll it into the dumping ground with the U.S. national team, but since it's about our team, I might as well just do it. Based on the performance of Tyler Adams over the past couple of months in the national team, and Tim Parker this past week, or past 2 weeks, I guess, yeah, because he appeared in the Ireland game as well. Red Bulls are win now. They are win now right now, and that means they need to fill that hole. I mean, we just talked about it. Mouille may step up. But they've got to fill that hole in this next transfer window on the right side. Below, again, like I said, nice story, but that's about it. I don't think he's the full player. And I'm not saying it has to be Ignacio Pichetto. That'd be nice. It probably isn't going to be. But they need to, if they are actually serious about winning a title, they've got to fill the holes they have because they're win now. Because at the end of the season, we already know Tyler's gone. And Tim Parker is 25. If he's going to test his contract is up. If he's going to test the waters with Europe, and if he wants to stay in the national team picture, he probably has to. He's going to do it at the end of this contract. So, I think for all the people who really believe in the system and saying, oh, no, we got a Dom coming, then Velo can take Adam's spot next year, and Wheel can fill in the right or whatever. No, they need to bring somebody in to fill this hole, show the fan base they are serious about winning MLS Cup, because this is it. This is your very narrow window, because it's going to be a different team next year. That's my right there.
So what you're saying is they're at now.
Yeah, now.
They're at now.
Yeah.
So when will then be now?
Now. Wait, I don't remember this. I know what this is. I can't think of what it is.
I'm just going to do movie references that people have to tell us what it is because I refuse to tell them.
Yeah, it's like I know I've seen it, and I'm like, I can't remember what it is.
And bonus points if you can figure out not only the reference, but I would say one of the actors who has not been in film for, a good 10, 15 years now?
Yeah. In fact, this actor just made a cameo on the Goldbergs.
Oh, did he?
Yes. And his face was not shown because of the reference we're making.
Wow. Okay. And I know exactly what we're talking about now.
Now, you know.
See, I knew the reference. I didn't remember the lines. That's the problem. So I couldn't join in. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have on with us Shawn Francis from Asbury Park FC. We'll be back with more Red Bull Rant right after this.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Rant, and tonight we have a very special guest to discuss where you should be for the next few weekends, the next 1, 2, 3, 4 weekends, I believe, to get your World Cup fix. The co-founder of Asbury Park FC, and I like to refer to him as the original MLS insider, Mr. Shawn Francis. Shawn, what's going on?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
We are doing great.
Not as good as Saudi Arabia, not as good as Russia, but
yeah, they're doing okay. After getting drilled today. So, let me ask you first. Aside from what the plans are for the next few weekends, I mean, with the USA being out, how is your actual fandom tuned into the World Cup?
It's weird, man. I think it's basically a pure soccer fandom and nothing else. You know what I mean? It's just strictly love of the game at this point. A couple of teams I would like to see do well. A couple of teams I definitely want to watch them play because I know it's going to be entertaining, but it's definitely weird. It's like the first time since I've actually been following soccer, but there's not the U.S. team in the World Cup, so it's a little bizarre.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because I think it was kind of tempered with us getting awarded the World Cup in 8 years, which I got really pumped for, and I'm like, I'm going to be really old at that point. Okay, I was excited. Now I'm going to be 48. So I'm not that excited now.
Same. I was doing the math myself. I was like, I'll be 49. I'm like, man, that really will not be a wild World Cup. That's gonna
I'm not even going to want to party anymore. It's going to be boring.
Yeah, it's gonna be the sporting equivalent of, me and my friends are basically gonna be the sporting equivalent of that garage band that's in all the Viagra commercials.
All right, so let's
Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs. Let's get into what's going on, especially this weekend. Real quick, for those who don't know, and I really don't think there is like anybody who doesn't know, just to explain a little bit of what Asbury Park FC is all about.
Asbury Park FC is the biggest club you've never heard of. It's kind of this weird point where Steve McLaren meets Malcolm McLaren. It's a little bit soccer. It's a little bit performance art. The soccer team has performance art. We have all the trappings of modern football. We have supporters clubs and watch parties and social media accounts and create a lot of content and sell merchandise. We just don't actually play games because we don't think it hurt. We're old. Too tired for that.
I think once you actually play a game, the club completely falls apart. I think that's what'll happen.
I think so. It's Ian and I have joked about it a couple of times. It's like, when does the joke stop being funny or when does it end? It's like, when we actually play a game or if we can get Bruce Springsteen in a jersey. Like after that, there's nothing else to do after that.
We should mention also to our listeners, especially if they're new, that your other co-founder, Ian Perkins, has been on this podcast several times, right? Around 3 or 4 times, I think.
Yeah, I think the last time was when they lost their promotion playoff a few years ago. Or I can't remember. I wish I could remember the name of the team.
Watford. Come on, man.
Watford. I should know that.
Watford. I'm sure he was a very chipper fellow that day.
Oh, he was wonderful. Mm-hmm. Always wonderful. You guys have merch. The merch is friggin' awesome. If you haven't seen it, go to all the social medias. I'll plug you so you don't have to. Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Great merch. Now, starting this weekend, you guys are doing, I think it's called the Asbury Park FC Clubhouse at the Asbury Park Yacht Club, which, just so people know, there will not be yachts there.
No, it's a very ironically named yacht club. It's more of it's a surf bar, dive bar, super chill on the boardwalk and right smack in the middle of the Asbury Park boardwalk. Big garage doors that open up onto the boardwalk with a patio. We'll have the games on, earlier in the day. As soon as the game's over, we're going right into matinee shows, man. We've got about 15 bands over the 5 weekends. This weekend kicks off with Mercy Union, which is Jared Hart from The Scandals, Rocky Cantonese, Benny from Gaslight Anthem on drums. We've got those guys and Lost in Society playing. We also have the Red Bulls street team is going to come down. They're doing a whole beach soccer activation with 5v5 games and a couple of different skill challenges. Those, the sort of thing you see when you go to the games outside of Red Bull Arena on the Boulevard, all the different soccer sort of chill challenges they have. They're going to bring a couple of those down. So it's going to be an epic day, man. It's going to be really fun. And merch. We've got a team shop, a physical team shop for once. So we've got a bunch of products there. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to have 3 new shirts. We're going to have some new jerseys that no one has seen yet. We've got scarves, some enamel pins, hats, just probably 10 different items that we've never put out before. And they're going to go on sale first this weekend in the shop. They'll be online after that. But we wanted to kind of give people that actually make the effort to come down and hang out and watch the games with us, let them have kind of first crack at stuff.
Jay is already getting ready to PayPal me money since I'll be coming down on Saturday. He's already just send me cash for scarves and what have you.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I live in Maryland, so I'm not going to be able to get to most of these things. And I'm from Jersey, so, specifically Monmouth County. So having Asbury Park FC stuff is great. My only complaint, and that's something I can talk to you about when we stop recording, is I can't buy anything in my size. And I tried asking once, and I thought I got a yes, but then never heard back. So I got to talk to you about that.
Hit me up. we can special order. We can special order.
I'm willing to pay for special order.
As long as it's not extra medium, those are really hard to find.
Yeah, don't worry. It's not extra medium. There's actually something, just not medium.
Here's an important question for me, because now it's become an addiction. The soft shirt. Will you guys have soft shirts?
All the shirts now are soft shirts.
Oh my God!
Changed recently. All Gildan soft style.
Oh, wonderful! I
very necessary in the summer.
It really is. And I'm wearing a regular shirt and I hate it. I hate and it's a Red Bull shirt and I hate every second of wearing this right now Yeah. Oh man, now I'm super pumped to come down there. Also, next weekend you guys are gonna have a few Red Bulls players showing up.
Yeah, man. We've got Aaron Long, we have got Derek Etienne Jr., and we have got Monmouth County's own Shawn Akira Davis, which I'm very, very stoked about. So, yeah, those guys are going to come down on the 24th at 1 o'clock. They'll be hanging out, taking pictures, signing autographs, and just, making the whole thing happen.
I've also seen that Topps trading cards are going to be represented.
Yep, Topps is one of our sponsors. Umbro USA is one of our sponsors. The Red Bulls are one of our sponsors. We've partnered with all three of them just to make this happen. We're super grateful because it's kind of a weird, crazy idea, and all three of them were like, "Oh, okay, that's different. Let's do it." So we're like, oh, "Okay, great." It's funny, man. That like, this club in finger quotes. It's a little bit different of an idea, and I think that's what appeals to some of these brands. It's like something fun and different they can do, and something they can do around soccer, particularly in this instance. They can do something around the World Cup, even though they're not sponsors of the World Cup, and that's always a challenge for brands.
And I think the Red Bulls have proven, I mean, Red Bull in general, really, they do like to reach out and do unique things, as has been proven over and over again. So this is absolutely perfect for them.
Yeah, we're excited about it. They're excited about it. Topps is really fun because we've done a couple things with them. They did some trading cards for us. I mean, like these promo cards for us. They basically took all the photos of the different musicians and soccer players and, Brian Dunseth, the Alexi Lawless type guys. All the pictures of those guys that were on social media floating around of them wearing APFC stuff, and they made cards with all those guys. So there's like these great cards of like Brian Baker out of Bad Religion, Brandon Steinecker out of Rancid, and then like Sasha Question, all in APFC gear, and they have APFC top trading cards. So we did some stuff like that with them. There's actually, I'll break a little news here. They're actually going to be sliding these other cards into some commercial packs of cards. It's sort of a little bit of an Easter egg. And there will be a Benjamin Go Home card out there in circulation.
Well. Now, this is like the golden ticket. Like, you're actually going to send people out on the streets.
Very rare. There will be the legendary APFC player Benjamin Go Home, and there will be a card of our dream stadium on the roof of Convention Hall. So if you find one of those, I'm sure they're going to be valuable to pass them down to your children.
So, my only question, because I can't think of anything at the moment besides from this. So you guys have this Saturday. You're having the music starts at 5. The Red Bulls have an Open Cup game at 7.
Ooh.
So are you going to have a watch party for the Red Bulls Open Cup game?
We are not, unfortunately, because they've got bands that come on in the evening after we're done.
Boo.
I know. It's funny. No, the Cloud9 crew, the Sky Blue supporters come like, hey, can we have a watch party for our game afterwards? And we were like, oh, that would be cool. And then we asked the venue, and they're like, we actually have bands booked, for the usual evening programming. So, unfortunately, no.
So what we have to do is just raid the Cloud9 party and put both games on.
Pretty much. That's going to be at Beach House Brewery in Bradley Beach. So they're going to come down and watch World Cup games at the Yacht Club, and then, make the little run 2 towns down to Bradley, to the Bradley Brew Project, which is a great brewery. You should check it out and watch their game. Who knows? Maybe they can split the TVs.
I'll have to make some, I would say calls, but really just messages to people, Message former guest Jen, so Jen will know so.
Yeah, she knows all.
How did this, real quick, how did it even come about? How did you come up with this idea and make this even possible? Because the work going into it must have been crazy.
It is crazy. It's still crazy. After I get off the phone with you guys, I've got to go to Home Depot and about 3 other places to buy stuff that has to go into the space. The next 36 hours, getting everything set, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But the idea was basically like, my day job is I work in an agency and we put together a lot of these events. We did like the Heineken House events for Rivalry Week in New York and LA, and we do all these events for Nike and things like that. And I was just kind of thinking about it. It's like World Cup comes around and everybody gets into it, but it seems like all the fun, cool, big parties are in New York. They're in LA, they're in Chicago. Well, guess what? Everyone from New York and Philly in the summer is at the shore. So why don't we do something here for our people, and let's have our own fun. We don't have to go to the city for a big watch party. Let's go here. And, what better way to kind of do something that's a little bit different, a little bit off the beaten track than with a club that doesn't really have a team. But yeah, it was just kind of this idea we had. We were just like, let's do something for us. Let's do something for our people. And I think, once we started putting it out there, a couple of different venues in town, there was 2 or 3 that were like interested. And once we started putting out to a couple of bands, we hooked up with Andy Diamond, who's like a legendary concert promoter here in New Jersey, books a lot of bands, a great relationship with a lot of bands. We reached out to Andy. He was like, I'm in. I'm 100% in. He brought in, Mercy Union, Toy Cars, Lost in Society, Chris Benton in the Woods, all these great Jersey bands. Every band that's playing is from New Jersey. And we were just like, once everyone kind of heard the idea, they bought in pretty quickly. And then it was just kind of this little bit of a steamroller of like, okay, this is happening. I better get my butt in gear. Perkins, I've been texting and calling Ian, at weird hours. Luckily, he's up at weird hours because he's got a crazy year with, Brian Fallon put a solo album out in February, and he was basically on the road from February to May, end of May, had 3 weeks off. He's went on the road with Gaslight. He's in Europe right now with Brian Fallon again. Gaslight tour starts up 2 weeks after that again. So he's bopping around all over the place. So, he's been my consigliere when it's, 1 a.m. and I have some weird, crazy idea. And I'm like texting him and I'm like, where are you, by the way? And he's like, I'm in Austria. But he's been the person kind of keep me like, no, that's a crappy idea. Don't do that. I'm like, okay, thanks.
I definitely have to quickly shout out too to Andy Diamond, and I suggest to anyone, if you haven't met the guy, make sure you meet him at the very end of the night, because that's where Andy shines. Just saying.
That's when Frank Diamond comes out.
That's when you meet the real man.
Oh yeah, that's when it's a good time. You'll see it. Andy will be hanging out if you come down to the yacht club. You got to meet the guy. He is the man.
Yeah,
he is a mess.
I will definitely be there. I'm trying to get Pat to come down. He has some plans, but I'm going to try to coerce him. So really, if you want to come hang out with me, I'll be there. The bands are going to be awesome. The games are going to be good. You can just go watch games because we have absolutely no rooting interest. And I want to let you go because you said you're going to Home Depot right after this, and I think we've already kept you too long. But I want to thank you for coming on and talking about it. I'm super pumped about this. That's why I said we got to get Shawn on. We absolutely have to talk about this.
Thanks for having me, guys. No, seriously, I appreciate you guys helping spread the word. And if I don't see you this weekend, maybe I'll see you guys back at the arena.
Of course, naturally.
Of course, goes without saying. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. Oh, Jay, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, before we go, we gotta let you, of course, put your presence out there. So social media, website, whatever you want to promote, real quick.
Yeah. Just follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. It's both at Asbury Park FC, and we're on Facebook as well. If you want to do that, I don't know. Facebook's one of those weird things where people only use it to see pictures of their baby cousin and to find out who's racist. That's really all you use Facebook for now. But if you want to follow us on Facebook, we're on Facebook as well.
Awesome. Shawn, thank you so much. We will be right back with more Red Bull Rant.
Welcome back to Red Bull Rant. Once again, I want to thank Shawn for coming on the show. Remember, Saturday, this Saturday, the 16th and the 17th, Sunday, Asbury Park FC at the Yacht Club. If you want to watch some World Cup games, hear some good music, and get some merch.
Yeah.
And if you give us Patreon money, we'll maybe consider giving some of it to the Asbury Park FC stadium plan on top of Convention Hall.
That's not a bad investment. Come on.
Right. You get to invest in us maybe out of the goodness of our heart, giving that money to somebody else.
And Truman, right now, you can't see it, but he's showing us a reference of what we had. All right, so Red Bulls have one game this week, but it is not in MLS. Did you just play something?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I thought I heard something.
No.
Red Bulls will be traveling down to take on the Philadelphia Union this Saturday, June 16th, 7 p.m. Eastern Start Time. I will be in the building because it's an hour away from me, so why the fuck not?
Why the fuck not?
The game will be broadcast on the whatever the U.S. Open Cup site is and NewYorkRedBulls.com/live or whatever. The Union this year in MLS are 5-7-3, 18 points, -5 goal difference. They're 4-2-2 at home, though, so they're decent at home record. Last 5 games, loss, win, draw, win. That does not include, though, a 5-0 win over the Richmond Kickers in their last Open Cup match. And the news that came out today, Ryan Mayer has officially been named the goalkeeper for all the U.S. Open Cup games.
Yeah, so
As it should be.
So all you people who are blaming him for losing last year,
No, he's not the reason we lost last year.
I know that I'm making fun of the overreactors.
He's making some funds.
Our famous doesn't overreact. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
All right, so Open Cup games, we don't do official predictions, but thoughts. Truman, what do you think about the game coming up on Saturday?
Well, first of all, you're going to a game that doesn't exist, according to Pat.
Doesn't exist.
Earlier, it's not a real game, so Jay's going to be standing there watching imaginary players play.
Hey, at least it's a night out of the house. I'll take it.
That being said, what do I expect? Pat, cover your ears. Mute the sound, everything. They're going to play a very A lineup. That's my feeling because they're going to have a full week off. And I think this happened last year too with the scheduling. It was where they kind of had a big gap in games and they kind of rolled out an A team. So I think you're going to see a very A team. Bradley Ray Phillips starting? Not sure about that. That's the one guy I could see probably start on the bench, but aside from that, I see him rolling out. Guys, why wouldn't you? Right? I mean, obviously Taxi's going to start because he got pulled, in the 60th minute of last night's game. So they're definitely gearing up for this, especially on the road where you're going to want more of your better players out there to start. I'm not going to give you a hardcore prediction, but I definitely think the Red Bulls can win this game. I mean, talent-wise, they're just – I know aside from 0-0 draw at home, they're a better team than Philadelphia. They just are. Whether they prove it or not, I don't know. But I don't know. I like their chances.
I think it'll probably be an A lineup or close to it anyway. They like you said, they have the time off, so that's probably what they'll do. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like last year didn't it kind of always broke their way. They were like had home games pretty much throughout, except Cincinnati and
New England.
They didn't play New England last year.
They did what?
No, we didn't. Not in the Open Cup.
Oh no,
no, because we entered in the third round, the fourth round, where we played New York City FC, beat them 1-0. In the round of 16, we tied Philly 1-1 and beat them 5-3 on penalty kicks. Sorry, I skipped the quarterfinals. You're right, but that one was on the road at New England, then on the road to FC Cincinnati, and on the road to Sporting Kansas City.
So I was right.
I thought they were. Yeah, for some reason I remember them being home pretty much for all the games, but so I'm wrong. But I don't know. I feel like Philly, they always fall on their face. So I don't see. They'll probably win, but I've got that feeling they won't.
So if we try out an A lineup and we don't win, I'd say it's a problem for this game, but not a problem for the rest of the year because I want to make sure I'm not overreacting here. Because here's the thing. Philly has this weird way of doing well in the Open Cup, but not necessarily doing well in MLS play.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it, like 3 years? This is like the fourth year in a row they were playing them, right? So they beat us at home on penalty kicks. We beat them at home on penalty kicks. They beat us, I think, once at their place, or we beat them there. I can't remember what it was. But they had this weird way of like doing well in Open Cup tournament. It's like the year DC went to the finals and they were dead last in the league.
They had like the worst statistical year in MLS history.
Yeah.
They won the Open Cup.
Did they win that one? I forget.
They won.
They did.
So that's why, which I want to bring up when everybody, like last year, everybody lost their fucking minds when I said Supporters Shield was more important. We won the Supporters Shield that year. So all you people who said that means you would trade our Supporters Shield year for DC's 3-win Open Cup year. Bullshit.
No,
Bullshit.
I would not trade that.
Nobody fucking would. You're all lying to yourself. And too bad this isn't video because I'm doing the double dick yank. Double dick yank. Because that's what you are all.
Double Jesse Marsh.
The double Jesse. The double J.
My only question is, at what point does Jesse Marsh Leeds go get his UEFA whatever next level coaching license?
That's true. That is what happens when he's in Philadelphia. He just kind of buggers on out of there.
You just see him like he's got like all of a sudden you just see him. He has like a Borussia Dortmund scarf on. And he's running off the field in the 60th minute. Like he didn't even go to Leipzig. He just went right to Dortmund.
I don't know how many people are coming down for the game. I know ESC and I assume Viking are selling tickets, but I imagine it'll be a decent contingent coming down since it's a Saturday game and everything. But we'll see. So time for Dumping Ground. Oh, no, it's not, because we got to talk about the other two teams.
Right.
New York Red Bulls 2, they won their home opener at Montclair 4-2 over the Charlotte Independence. The next game is Saturday at the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Sky Blue FC drew 0-0 against Washington, which means they still haven't won. But at least they didn't lose.
I guess.
This week on Saturday they're at Orlando Pride at 7:30 p.m. Hopefully they can win one. Hopefully.
And again, there's going to be a watch party, which we talked about with Shawn. So
there you go. Indeed. All right, Dumping Ground. I got nothing. So, and you know why I have nothing? Because I've been busy with work.
You could have stolen the softball. USA is getting the World Cup in 2026.
Yeah,
I could have, but for some, I felt like I leave it up to you because you're all the U.S. international stuff.
I'm the only person who lives in this country and cares about U.S. soccer.
No, but it's your topic. It's always been your topic. You had a show for a while about that topic.
This makes up for all the questions you didn't ask Shawn Francis, our guest on the show.
Oh,
this is how you come back and fill in the show.
Don't make it sound like I didn't ask Shawn Francis questions. I don't ask anybody questions.
That's what I'm saying.
I at least asked a question.
I'm like, you get me on. I'm like, what do you do? I don't care. I'm not that vain. I just never know what to ask people. But USA Soccer, yes, they had an encouraging draw against France. I mean, granted, it looked like we were watching, year 2000 U.S. national team, the way they were bunkered in. But, I mean, let's not forget it was kind of like a B plus lineup with mostly kids, missing key players like, DeAndre Yedlin, I think, was out. Yeah, he was not in most of the game. John Brooks, although the three center backs played very well. But to put a team, to give a team that many expect to compete for the World Cup such fits, it's certainly encouraging. In a way, you could say that us missing the World Cup is a blessing in disguise because these kids wouldn't be playing this early and playing against this type of competition if not for us missing the World Cup. I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. I mean, watching Russia play today, it hurts. It pains me to know.
Ugh.
And seeing Putin and that other guy just like,
Terrible.
just awful.
That was a weird handshake.
Yeah, it was weird.
In the first half of the game. It's not even like the game was over.
I mean, you kind of just feel like, just off camera, each guy's secret police was actually pointing a gun at the other leader, like the way that, like the awkwardness of that whole thing.
See, that assumes that the Russian secret police would let anybody else into the country.
Yeah, well, apparently they did, so. So that was pretty encouraging. USA will play Brazil in September at MetLife Stadium if anyone local wants to go. Just give that a heads up, and we'll see these kids do some more and probably get destroyed by Brazil. But we'll also have a new coach then, and we'll see what happens. It should be fun.
I have a crazy idea for you.
All right.
I know it's not a professional sport, so you can't quite do this, but I would be totally okay if the national team kind of not tanked, but kind of just fucked around, experimented for the next 4 years, and somehow didn't qualify for Qatar either, because I don't want our fans going to that country for a World Cup. I would rather get one hell of an awesome program in the next 8 years so we don't even have to bother to qualify because we're already in, baby, and just experiment, get the right formula down for in 8 years. We're just whooping ass at home. Just saying.
Can we actually afford to do that, though?
No, we can't.
Yeah, not a chance, yeah.
No, but that's what I want.
Yeah. I don't want to go to Qatar either, but I want to go to Qatar.
In December.
Yeah.
Because remember, that one's in the winter.
Yeah, take that, every other league.
So,
And MLS will reign supreme.
And they're asking for, I think they're asking for that one to become the first one with 48 teams, not the one in the United States.
Oh, got him.
Qatar wants to, yeah, but yeah.
They want the history.
Oh, fuck Qatar.
Yeah, place is terrible. Terrible, terrible place with terrible human rights. We're already playing a World Cup in a place with awful human rights, as demonstrated above. If you watched the news today, about a Frenchman getting assaulted, beaten down with brain damage, injuries, and I'm sure it'll be way better.
Way better, yeah. Like as long as you stay inside the fan zones, you won't get your hands cut off for getting drunk or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's so like I said, we'll move on. We kind of touched upon it. Yeah, the USA gets the World Cup with Mexico and Canada in 2026. Shows that pretty much, and by the margin that they won, it kind of shows that like all the nerve wracking was overblown about they were in danger of losing it because they won by they got 60% of the vote or something like that. So it was never really in doubt. So that should be fun. I mean, I'll be 44.
That's right, as we did math earlier. So,
so I'll be halfway to death. If I'm not already. So it should be, that'll suck. But other than that, it should be a good time. Hopefully. I mean, I don't, I'll probably, who knows, 44. I might be like, it's just easy to watch from home. I mean, it's boring in 8 years. Who knows?
But it's right. You can look out your window and see the game. I don't care.
I like my television.
Since you guys have given your ages, I will be 42.
There you go.
You son of a bitch.
Now you know who's the youngest.
Hey, we already knew that. And don't blame me for my age. It's not my fault.
It's his parents' fault. Yeah, so it's, that's something that's, a nice little, for as terrible as it is watching this World Cup. And all my old World Cup video pictures and stuff are coming up on my time hop. So it's just really killing me right now. Just oh yeah, look, that's when I had lots of fun in Bradley Beach at Darcy's Tavern for USA England. That's me at the Derby tent to your darn USA Portugal. I mean, it's it sucks.
Those were the times.
It sucks, man, but hey, at least there's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's weird. Today, I did watch the game, but it's tough to get into. And I think the biggest issue is the time.
Oh, yeah.
6 hour time difference for the game in Moscow.
Something like that, yeah.
And then there's going to be 8 a.m. games because some are being played in like Vladivostok on the freaking all the other side of Russia. So it doesn't it doesn't help that like the games are like weird times. We're not there. I don't know. It's going to be a tough World Cup to watch. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm definitely handpicking which games I watch.
Any 6 a.m. game, I am not watching that shit.
No.
You know.
It's going to be the DVR World Cup.
I was going to say, I signed up for YouTube TV just explicitly for the DVR because, okay, my one rant.
There you go.
This is not about YouTube TV. This is about Fox Soccer. You have a service called Fox Soccer Match Pass Plus or Match Pass. I pay for it. You advertised that the World Cup was going to be on it, and then decided you pulled it off. There's not to put it on there. Why the fuck wouldn't you want me to spend money on it, or other people to spend money on it? I now gave my money to Google instead of you.
Oh,
Think of it.
And
I gave them less money.
take
probably
that.
not enough money. Well, they have. Actually, they probably lost a lot of money on this World Cup.
And maybe that's why they didn't put it up there. Is because they're like, well, the U.S. isn't here, so why bother?
Who gives a shit?
It's very possible. All right. Anything else?
No. No.
One quick thing, because we talked about it. We did get a tweet. It is political in nature.
Oh.
And we said that. I think we may not have said it in the past. We think we've said it in the past. Well, we just don't really. It was politics and religion are two topics we just kind of stay away from on this show.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that like we would take any and all topics from our Patreon peeps, which still holds up, of course. But yeah, there was it was kind of like a political soccer tweet.
Yeah.
It's just not.
We're
not touching it.
Yeah, it was about political silly season, which has existed for a while now. And it was just like, ugh.
It's always political silly season.
Yeah. Well, I remember there used to be a time when it wasn't that silly, but
True.
back in the day, people used to be reasoned. But then the internet came.
I was gonna say, internet shut up. Game over.
And everything went to shit.
All right, so we're done. We're done dumping, right?
We're done dumping on everybody except your terrible team of the week.
Oh, and guys, I have a treat for you because I have 2 teams.
Whoa, I wonder who they are.
And
yes,
they played in one game last night.
Yep.
One game, and that would be the DC Toronto game. Because when you look at a score and you go 4-4, wow, how great! No, it's great because of how bad it was. Because DC had a 3-0 lead and fucked it up. Not only did they fuck it up, the game went to 3-3. They scored in like the 90th +2 or whatever, and TFC scored again to tie the game at 4-4, which means it's a draw, and which means that both of those teams still suck at the bottom of the table. So it did nothing for anybody except for everyone who just wanted those 2 teams to fail epically, and that's exactly what they did.
And the question when I brought up the fact of the scoreline, Pat asked, "Is TFC still being a funk?" And I go, DC increased their goal tally on the year by like 36%. So, yes, TFC still sucks.
I did see somebody tweeted that they were like, "Oh, this is a good sign from the TFC's not giving up." But, well, we'll see. Oh, here we go. New segment now that it's legal in New Jersey. Our bet of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
We need like jackpot sounds going on.
Ching, 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 ching. This makes me think. My bet of the week. If I was
noises!
Sorry.
Sure.
What's this I have?
That one doesn't fit, but okay.
But we just made one that fits. We just made it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Patreon thing. It can't be both.
Yeah. All right. So bet of the week, because this game kind of reminds me of it. If I was in Mama's Park right now, I would put $10 on TFC to still make the playoffs.
That is like the easiest bet you could possibly make because it's MLS playoffs. It's MLS playoffs.
But they're as bad as big a hole as they are. You don't think that? You think that's still obvious?
I Oh boy, we're just going to drag out this show
How
because
many teams need to make the playoff, or how many teams make the playoffs?
Six per conference. Yeah.
Okay. And how far do you think Toronto FC is away from sixth place right now?
10 points.
4.
Oh, okay.
With a game in hand on Orlando.
Well, my fucking bet of the week sucks.
hey, listen, it was your first, so I mean, the first is not going to be the best one.
Hold on. What were the odds at least? Were they good?
I don't know. I haven't been to Monmouth Park.
Wait, you made the bet without knowing the odds?
No, I'm making a bet, a theoretical bet on our show. Yeah, I haven't been to Monmouth.
Sorry, I assumed you made the bet already.
Yeah, Monmouth Park is just open. Yeah, I'm not going to go to Monmouth Park every Thursday so I can have my bet of the week. I mean, when I can do it from my cell phone, sure. But until then, no, thank you.
So, let's see. Since you did bring it up, let's see. I'm not reading all this. I have a guy called, I'm not going to read his name, so I'm like doing it. A Zucker Media Group sends me betting odds every once in a while. I'll read this one. So, top goal scorers for the 2018 World Cup. The favorite right now is Neymar at 9-1. Messi is second with 11-1. Griezmann from France at 12-1, and Gabriel Jesus from Brazil at 14-1.
No love for Mo Salah. I get it. He doesn't have Mane and Firmino and everyone else, Jordan Henderson, surrounding him.
Mo Salah right now is 50-1. Remember, this is top goal scorer, so you have to take into account knockout.
Right.
How about Josie Altidore? Where's he at?
I don't see one of those.
I'm going to go hide from the projectiles being
Here's
thrown.
the thing: is this list doesn't go very far, relatively very far anyway.
Well, the first bet wagered in New Jersey was a soccer bet. Phil Murphy put $20 on Germany to win it all.
Oh, he was listening to my advice with our interview with Stephen Keel.
There you go.
All right. I'm just going to throw it out there and say Phil Murphy listens to our podcast. There you go. I'm just saying it.
That'd be something.
Yeah.
So Germany, according to Zucker Media, is a 19-4 chance to win. The favorite's Brazil at 9-2.
Yeah, what else is new?
Won't be Brazil.
France, Keel's favorite is 13-2.
Oh.
Ah, oui.
All right.
We've done enough.
We have.
We've done enough. We apologize, everybody.
We have taken this episode and just dug up its grave and killed it again.
Yep. We just keep kicking the corpse around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. Patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. $1 a month, all you need for the exclusive content. And I didn't do it last week. I forgot. I'll put up the Stephen Keel interview for everybody to listen to. And last week we said we were going to make it public after a week. I think internally we're going to play around with that idea. It may not hold true forever. Like what would we're going to refine that idea, all right? Just as a heads up. If you want to email us, redbullrant@gmail.com. If you want to call us like Jeremiah did, 973-348-5329. Facebook.com/Red Bull Rant. On Twitter @Red Bull Rant for the show, @Dr. Stooge for myself, @PMACDA2 for Pat, @The Truman for Truman. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, or SoundCloud.com/Red-Bull-Rant. Real quick, I might do a post game coming back from Philly. I don't know because I don't know how much people want to listen to just me for 20 minutes. But I might. Maybe when I'm standing there when we're waiting to be let out of the stadium, maybe I'll get some people and do something.
Cool.
Anyway, last words for the show.
Don't forget you can still be a sponsor for Forza Lucha. Just message me, okay? I got the Twitter and all that stuff. You hit me up, and I will let you know. Second, just come out, hang out with me or us on Saturday in Asbury Park. Tweet at us, message, come down, let's hang. And meanwhile, in Philly, the Red Bulls, Chester sucks, so win.
Yeah, win.
All right, so for Pat, Truman, and myself, this has been episode number 268 of the Red Bull Rant. Thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, go Red Bulls.
Peace out.
Late.